And now, join your hosts, Keith Reynolds and Charlene Chamberlain.
Well, welcome and good morning. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee. And it's actually a special morning this morning because obviously for you followers out there, you know my little buddy Charlene is on vacation. Char, what's up? I know you're probably watching. But I have a special show co-guest host. Pia Louise is going to be our guest host for today, so I want to welcome her to the show.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
You know, you have to abuse me a little during the show, though, because that makes me feel like Char's here. So, and then we have a special guest, Mimi, from
Go ahead,
Maja-Flava Vape Den.
Yes, a little bit of a tongue twister there.
Tongue twister. Welcome, Mimi.
Hi, how are you doing, Keith? Hi, Pia.
Hi.
So, tell us a little bit, it's a big trend out there, and that's why we wanted to have you come on the show and talk about what you do. So, Tell us a little bit, first of all, how in the heck did you get involved in this?
Now, that's a crazy story all in itself. So I'll try to do it the short way.
Okay.
Because it wasn't a short road at all for me, and probably not for the other people who had joined me in, my route to quitting. It was like a road that I had to take. So basically, I was a heavy smoker since 12 years old, which is crazy just to think that at 12 years old, I was able to walk in and buy a pack of cigarettes. I could put my dad's name on a piece of paper. They would hand it to me. By the time the laws and the rules became, clear that we weren't supposed to be able to buy those packs of cigarettes under mom and dad's name, it was already too late. So I smoked from the age of 12 until 3 years ago. I'm now 33, so I was 30 years old. In 2012, I watched a young woman, her name was Adelina. I watched her she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And this breast cancer turned into this ultimate nightmare where, as a friend, I'm at her house and she's sick. She's on chemo, anything you could think of. And it was horrible to watch as somebody kind of deteriorated in front of you. But here I am, healthy as can be. I'll be back, Addie. I'm going to go outside and smoke a cigarette real quick. Gracious as ever, never said a word to me. She just was like, all right, I'll see you in a minute. And then when I would come in and sit next to her, you could see, her nostrils would flare from the side, and, she wanted to say, you really should give that up. But she didn't. She was just humble the whole time. So she never said anything to me about the smoking habit, but for the few times that I was able to get to her house to visit her during her time on chemotherapy, it was pretty clear that it was something that she didn't like. And I think I realized later that it was, here I am healthy, willing to throw it all away. And here she is, she would give the world to not have the situation she had. So ultimately she did pass away. It took 9 months. It was breast cancer. It turned into every kind of cancer. There's almost nothing that didn't exist in her body when she passed. So funeral came around and they're all outside smoking, and I felt guilty, really guilty, and that's the bottom line. I did not feel good about that. It took me a while to realize that what I didn't feel good about was the fact that I was still just doing it. This was a 32-year-old woman. At the time, I was 29, 30, and I'm like, this is crazy. I just sat there and watched somebody who was just like me, perfect, just go down this whole different path, and when I say perfect, I mean when I go to the doctors, they look at me and they go, you're healthy, you're good, you could lose a little weight, you could do this, you could do that, exercise, how about that smoking? And every time, they always ask, how about that smoking? And I was on medications, and I thought it was because I had allergies. I thought I had headaches because my allergies were making my sinuses heavy. There were so many little things that just annoyances, and it wasn't even things that would make you not go to work in the morning or say hey, I need to go to the hospital. It was just I didn't feel good as a person. So it just kept hitting me in the back of my head, it's time to quit. So I tried everything. I think everybody in the world knows the multiple ways that you can quit smoking. They have prescribed medication. They have this thing that you put on you called the patch. It's a nicotine delivery system. Yeah. There's so many little different things. Nothing really worked. I ultimately 2 weeks. I would make it 2 whole weeks, and in the bed with bed spins and not understanding why am I so addicted to this? To the point where my body I couldn't go to work under It's almost was like a detoxing. When people describe a detox of something in your body, this was the feeling I got. I couldn't move. I had bed spin shakes. That weak, very, very weak. And anything you could think of, flu-like symptoms that you just don't feel good. So ultimately, the only thing that made it feel better was to light up and smoke a cigarette. So I went through that on and off. Let me quit, not quitting. Sneaking into the backyard, lighting up, crouching behind the fence so nobody could see me. Yeah, like it was horrible. One time, like I had made it a whole week without smoking, and at the time I cleaned houses. I'm in a house cleaning, and I get into this lady's shower, and it's horrendous. And like, what did I used to do? I ran outside to smoke a cigarette before I got down and started scrubbing. So I was staring at the shower, and I'm like, I can't do it. And I didn't have cigarettes on me. I got in my car. I left. I drove 1.5 miles to a Wawa to get a pack of cigarettes to hide in the backyard of a customer's house to smoke that cigarette really, really fast before I ran upstairs and scrubbed that shower. So clearly, I had a problem, and I don't think I'm the only one. And I mean, those are strange behaviors.
Yeah.
So
not when you're getting up at 1
Yeah.
a.m. and putting boots on and going out in the snow to get cigarettes.
Yeah,
It's
strange
bad.
behavior.
Yeah.
So clearly I had a problem with actually giving up smoking. And a lot of it was a physical addiction. And then
Definitely.
obviously the action of smoking, a lot of like habits. Like I know that when I scrub showers, I always smoked before I scrub showers. I mean, I cleaned 7 houses a day, and the showers always got me like stressed out. So for some reason, I didn't like showers. Needless to say, I started researching like ways to quit, like other remedies. And one day, I didn't get the answer online. Actually, there was no answer. This was 2012 going into 2013. There was really limited answers. One day I was driving to 7-Eleven to buy my pack of cigarettes, and I look up, and lo and behold, there's this e-cigarette thing, and it looks like a cigarette, but the guy has no information. I'm like, what is that? And he's like, you smoke it. And I'm like, you smoke it, but is it a cigarette? And he said, no. I said, is it good? Did you try it? He goes, I don't know. I said, how much is it? It was $30. I said, well, give me one of them. How long does that battery last? He says, I don't know. So I'm like reading the package, trying to get information off this package, nothing. I grab it, I do it right in the middle of the store, of course, me being me, and I didn't buy my pack of cigarettes that day. I actually, it's a mile from there to my house, and in that mile, I like used this thing until the battery blinked at me, and I realized that like, oh my gosh, I probably need another one because this isn't gonna last. Right. So I quickly turned my car around, went back, and said, let me get another one. He's like, you were just here. I said, oh, and all the refill cartridges too, because I know I'm a heavy smoker. And like when you read the box, it said how much this equivalent to a cigarette was. Had no information, just willing to jump right in and try something different. So I walked in the house and I showed my husband, I said, I can do these, and he's also a heavy smoker. He's like, what is that? And I'm like, here, try it. And he tried it, he choked, he coughed, it was horrible. He was like, get that thing away from me, I don't want to touch it, but do you? I woke up the next day and never actually went back out and bought that pack. And 3 months later, I still didn't buy that pack. And these were just the e-cig stick kinds. I was really determined at that point to not buy the pack of cigarettes, but I did realize that this route of quitting was going to cost me a lot more money than my cigarettes did.
Right.
Yeah, I was willing to take the financial risk. So I just kept having this thought that there's got to be a way to make this better. But how can you make this better when you don't even know what it is? So there wasn't a word for it. It was e-cig. And then finally one day, somehow in all of my crazy research, because these little cartridges, you buy them, I wanted to fill these cartridges. In my head, because they taste kind of like breath mints at the time, I thought, well, what if they're just putting breath mint in it? I didn't really think about the nicotine portion or any of that was in it. I just wanted to refill this cartridge. So finally one day I was like Googling how to refill the cartridge, and I stumbled upon vapor. And it opened up this whole, then I Googled the word vapor, because I'm like, that's what it is, And I stumbled upon this whole world of information, like so much. And I was, staring at my screen for 5 hours after that, scrolling. And I said, where do I buy vapor? Because this is an actual form, and it comes in these bottles, and all this information I'm getting. And I'm like, there's another way that you can do it. My husband used to call it my hookah pen, and I had come to find out it's completely different from real hookah.
Right.
I did not know that at the time, so I would just indulge in that. It was like my little hookah pen, So ultimately, I used the, internet, which was like the highway to my future, to research and find out more. And my next search was, where do I find it?
And you came upon and you started a store up.
So an hour and 45 minutes away was the first vapor lounge / shop. I went there, I tried it out, and I said, well, this kind of stinks. I love this stuff. I want to use it regularly, but I got to drive an hour and 45 minutes to get it when 7-Eleven was right up the street.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere that I bought my cigarettes was local. So I thought to myself, how great would it be if I brought this same product closer to home? And within the time that I opened my store, I would say about 6 other stores opened up. They're pretty known stores, like kind of local, but not close enough to me to affect me, and I don't affect them. But now we're over a year and a half open. Our grand opening was actually like April 25th was the grand opening of last year. But since January, we're opening the doors to people and, come in, let's try it, doing soft runs on how to do it. Here, it's now 57 lounges and shops, retail venues in the state of New Jersey. It was
So where is yours located?
So we're in Riverside, New Jersey,
Riverside, okay.
which is Burlington County.
Right.
And ultimately, I chose that area, very specific reasons, actually. One, I lived there as a child, but my whole thing was I had to go an hour and a half to get mine, an hour and 45 minutes to get mine the first time. So I wanted to bring this, product to a place where people don't always leave their town, where they're
Absolutely.
used to, like, for them, that travel would be a burden. And where the people who did have transportation, it wouldn't be a burden. And that town made sense to me.
Okay.
So that's how ultimately we landed there.
Okay. Well, maybe we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to come back, and you brought some product on to kind of show us what vapor, what are they called?
Vapor.
Vapor cigarettes, or are they called vapor?
We call it vapor, anything
Okay.
you want.
All right. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
In a world where bankers have lost all interest, where robots and fat cats rule our fortunes, one woman
Hi.
will stand up and strive to do the impossible. Be treated like a person. Friends and neighbors will join her quest. Ordinary people will band together against the forces of corporate greed. And together they will form Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, already in a neighborhood near you.
Imagine the finest hand-selected USDA prime steak you'll ever have. The freshest line-caught seafood, our Wine Spectator award-winning wine list, and soul-satisfying desserts. Bring that together with the perfect date, the winning business deal, a memorable family celebration. Welcome to Rod's Steak and Seafood Grill in nearby Morristown, New Jersey. Bring your appetite and feed your passion.
Your credit score is yours, and at Experian Credit Expert, we want to help you really use it. With access to helpful Experian experts over the phone and online, we can help you use it to get a better idea of what info the banks have on you. Use it to get more choice of mortgages. Use it to make your money go further. Take the next step to improving your financial future with your free 30-day trial at Experian.co.uk.
Here at Freppi's Tex-Mex, you can definitely taste the freshness in our food. You should definitely come to Freppi's because it's a great place. You can bring your family, very kid-friendly. All my servers are amazing, friendly people. Everyone here is just happy to serve, and I think it shows. The thing that sets us apart is the quality and freshness of our food. And I think once you try it, you'd be coming back. I'm Joe DeSario, co-owner of Freppi's Tex-Mex in Plainfield, New Jersey.
Hey there, everybody. This is Scott Tanker, host of Lunch with the Boss on RadioVisionNetwork.com. I want you to visit me each and every Thursday from 12:30 to 1 o'clock, where we have special guests talking about the dynamics between employees and employers. We talk about their business. We let our audience know, that's you folks, what these businesses are all about and how we can make the working environment better, while at the same time learning about the local businesses here in the Delaware Valley. So, I'm host of Lunch with the Boss. My name is Scott Tanker. I want to see you here every Thursday from 12:30 to 1 o'clock. Be there, be square. Thanks a lot.
Dawn, host of Read All About It. I interview authors of all kinds about their journeys of writing and the struggles that they face. You can watch my show at 12 p.m. on Wednesdays. Tune in to Radio Vision Networks. We hope to see you then.
Today's show has been sponsored by More Than Gifts. Come see our new location in Marlton, New Jersey. Not just gifts, but more.
Well, welcome back. I'm Keith Reynolds, host of Morning Coffee. Yes, we look absolutely crazy, but we're having fun. And I'm here with Pia Louise, my show co for today, and Mimi from
Maja-Flava Vape Den.
There you go.
We are Toucan Crazy.
Toucan Crazy. So, Mimi, tell us a little bit about the products you bought here.
Okay.
What we do.
So basically, because I am a vapor lounge, we sell premium e-liquids, and premium e-liquids can range in flavor. There's 7,000 flavors to date on the market. In my store, we might have about 100 to 200 of those flavors readily available for you to taste test. Basically, the goal is that if you were in the position to make a transition from smoking real cigarettes to vaping, we want you to find a flavor that you can tolerate all day, every day, for the next couple weeks, as you transition away from the cigarettes and to the vapor. Now you start out with nicotine levels that suit the amount that you were smoking, and then you kind of work your way down when you're ready. Your body will tell you really quickly when you have too much nicotine, so it's really easy. The signs are easy. You'll know. Basically, everybody says, oh, I need to lower my nicotine, and they just go. And with a cigarette,
Excellent.
you couldn't do that. If you think about a
Right.
cigarette, can you lower your nicotine? No. So yeah, it's addictive, right? It's probably the least of our worries. It's not what causes all the issues, you know, it's just the thing that makes us keep going back. And so we figured that if we have some pure nicotine, which is something we've never had, and really good flavors that adults that would like these flavors would be able to tolerate that over a cigarette. Even though cigarettes don't taste good by any means, we
Right.
love them. We do. They
It's
taste
the
terrible.
nicotine.
I'm a former
Yeah.
It's the
smoker.
nicotine.
Yeah, and we
Absolutely.
love them. And you will hear people say, I want a tobacco flavor, and they will want that horrible flavor, but yet that is what they're used to. That's what they are accustomed to. And so we strive to get to a point where every flavor that they taste, it tastes good or close to their cigarette, or it's completely opposite. That's the goal. So here what we have is the Death by Toucan. It's called Toucan Crazy, is the e-liquid line. It's our premium e-liquid. It's actually manufactured in a lab in Utah. I used to make it by hand. They were my
Really?
recipes. I made them myself. And then we wanted to stay up with the rules and regulations that will come our way. And so we have all, unfortunately, vapor is not FDA approved, but the products that are within vapor are FDA approved. So we made sure that we use FEMA grass, flavor extracts, and that the VG, which is what makes the clouds, that is also kosher, organic,
Wow.
FEMA grass approved,
Nice.
things like that. So as close to safe as you can get is what is in these bottles. And there's, I would say, a couple, probably 1,000 companies that I know that have gone the route of premium. They do it in the lab, they do it correctly, they make sure that every bottle's tested. Every bottle's insured. That's basically they're insured for ingestion purposes. You're not supposed to drink it. You're supposed to vape it. But it happens, and you know, so they make sure that these are as safe as they can get. So there's a difference between some of these lids, and it's really important that people know what those things are, that our consumer understands. So this is what a child safety lid looks like, and it's kind of thick, and it has this little instructions. And to get this open, you have to kind of push down and turn.
Right.
And whereas
Like on
these,
meds.
if you look, don't have a child safety lid. So that could pose as a really big problem. Out on the market, you should have a child safety lid. They should have a little seal on them before you go to open them. I've already popped the seals off of these guys because I do like to smell them regularly because they smell really good and yummy. But yeah, so this is our Toucan Crazy Premium e-liquid line. It's 6 flavors. Each flavor represents something different in a breakfast category. So that's the only way to explain
That's
it.
so funny.
But so Death by Toucan original flavor was and is still is for since November the #1 selling juice in our store without even trying. And it's in a few other places. It's also the #1 selling juice in their store. So, and I think it's just the taste. It tastes good. Adults like it. So, and it works out well. that it just so happened that somebody said to me one day, I really like the lemony lime crunchy cereal of death, but can you make me a cherry? And so cherry cans came along, and then we went down the list and said, what else would people like? So people told me they like the bottom of the bowl, basically that part where you drink the milk and it's all sugary sweet. So that's where Blue Death came from. So each flavor represents something different, and they're all uniquely different, and there's something there for everybody.
Okay. Awesome. Now this is the device,
Yep.
right? So you basically, without making this happen, you just suck in
Yep.
on this, and you get vapor.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Okay.
press a button to
And
inhale
nicotine
and
is
exhale.
in the flavor.
Yep, it's a
There's
nicotine
flavor and
delivery
nicotine.
system. Yep. So it's pure nicotine, and it's a nicotine delivery system. In mine, I use very low nicotine. I'm 3 milligrams per milliliter, which means it takes me like probably an entire day to get 1 cigarette's worth of nicotine
I was going to
now.
ask you, like, how much, so depending on the liquid that you're using, it has a certain amount of nicotine.
Yes.
And you don't need to be using this constantly.
No. I've been with you
But-
at a half an hour now, and I'm fine,
Mhm.
right? So in the beginning, it's suggested that you vape as often as needed because
Okay.
most of us were chain smokers, so be a chain vapor. You really can't vape too much. There's all these like rumors out there that you get wet lung, this, that, the other. If you have a pre-existing condition, then you probably know you do, and you've been to your doctor for it. Ask your doctor. We tell everybody, ask your doctor, is this okay? Any good doctor will say to you, I'd rather you do that than smoke those cigarettes.
Definitely.
If that's the road to you being off the cigarettes, absolutely, and they'll monitor you. And so ultimately, you start out at the nicotine level that is close to what you're smoking. I was a pack and a half a day. Disgusting pack and a half a day. And so when I started vaping, I vaped at 24 milligrams. It's the highest level of nicotine that you can get, and it was quite harsh, although at the time I didn't recognize harsh at all because I smoked so much. Now we're going on my 3rd year. 3 years later, I am 3 milligrams nicotine, which is super low. My next step is 0. There'll be no nicotine, and then from there it would be just preventative. So at the point of 0, I would say, you know, for me, I'll probably do 6 months just vaping 0, just so that I get my hand-to-mouth action. And then from there, have a fresh setup, nice and clean in the glove box with the fresh bottle of no nicotine juice waiting for me. So if it happens, if the moment arises and the urges come back, that there is an alternative. That it's right there, and I can preventatively say.
I think that's a really good point because urges do come back.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
took me a really long time to finally quit.
Yeah, congratulations.
But then I got into social smoking. But then my kids would call me out on it, and like you said, go hide somewhere. But I'd have to come in the house and shower and brush my teeth because they could smell it so easily.
And they could smell
which
it.
Which you can.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about bringing something like this. Like if you're out at a bar, are you allowed to use these in a bar?
So
or
it
club?
depends where you're at. As of now, the state laws mandate there's a Clean Air Act. You're technically supposed to go outside with the smokers.
Okay.
Of course, there is a little bit of battle over it. The thing to me is we didn't complain that much when they made the rules for smokers. So why make a big deal out of it? Just follow the rules. I mean, that's the way I feel. You take it with you. You walk outside for a smoke break, but now you're doing a vape break.
Because you are exhaling a certain level of nicotine back out?
Actually, so the test results show that the nicotine is untraceable on the exhale. So it's really not a secondhand
You're not getting
nicotine.
a secondhand.
Yeah,
Smoke.
since it's vapor,
It's
it's going to connect pretty much to your flesh inside, your lungs. It's going to connect and it absorbs through your bloodstream. So since it's vapor, the nicotine goes in, and if you actually really look at it, I mean, it's quite thick. That's how you create your clouds. So you're just in order to vape this whole thing, normal person's like a week and a half, 2 weeks. This isn't going to go in one day. So when you fill one of these are called tanks. When you fill one of these, you're only using about 3 milliliters. This is a 30 milliliter.
Oh, okay.
So you got 10, 15 fills depending on how much you vape. So this tank is maybe a 7-hour worth of vaping before you have to actually fill again. So when you're inhaling and exhaling, it's pretty clear that you're getting your nicotine in, and what comes out is just an appearance. It's almost like the leftovers, which would be the VG, almost like a fog machine.
Okay. Now, just real quick question, and then we have to move on. But how much does something like this cost as far as like a startup?
Okay, so these are a little bit more of high-end devices, and one of the reasons why I choose these devices is their length of time. Mine lasts 2 days. A standard starter kit lasts about 6 hours. we recommend you start with a starter kit. They're about $28, and then a bottle of juice is about $13.
Okay.
And then from there, if you do well with the starter kit, or say, hey, I love this, but I need, more power. It's gotta last longer than 6 hours.
Right.
Ultimately, that's when you make your decision. What type of device is best for you? They can range. This one right here is $150. This is $150 with 6 months of warranty, and it's gonna last me the next 3 years.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I also, while we were on break, you mentioned the fact, because I made a comment about it being like a cell phone.
Mhm.
So you mentioned.
I can charge my cell phone with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an emergency
cool.
power bank. Yep.
Okay. So Mimi, tell the folks out there where they can find your shop.
Okay. All right, so we are Maja-Flava Vape Den. We are located at 44 East Scott Street, Riverside, New Jersey. You can also order Maja-Flava juices online at thefantasticvapestore.com and just look for Death by Toucan. You really can't miss it. And anybody else who is interested in trying some of our premium e-liquids can go to NJ Vapors at 338 Bellevue Turnpike in North Arlington, New Jersey. We've got One Step Above, which is in York, PA, 855 North Adams Street. And we have Vape, which is 10B Trolley Square in Wilmington, Delaware. So just rewind the tape so that you get these addresses again. And I'm Maja-Flava Vape Den. We're 44 East Scott Street, Riverside, New Jersey. And if you, for the next 30 days, when you come in, if you're a first-time customer, if you say the phrase morning coffee, you will get 15% off your first order and a free house juice. So that'll help you get started on your transition from smoking to vaping and hopefully having to do nothing.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for coming on the show
Great
this
deal.
morning and being our guest. We're going to be right back after this commercial break.